Hi, this is Joyce, the Inspired Gardener. Today I'm going to show you how I propagate my plants through cuttings. This plant here is about 6 weeks old. It's doing very well. I took those clippings from the mother plant, and it was so easy, anyone can do it. So here she is, the mother plant, and you can see she's nice and she's bushy and everything you want your coleus plant to be. And how I got that way was clipping her back. So I'm going to get started here. Now I'm going to take my scissors and really cut this thing back. You can see about halfway down. And I'm just starting to cut off these main branches. And as you can see, there's probably about 3 branches on that one clip. And that'll be 3 different clippings that I take. And I'm going to just speed this up a little bit so kind of get to the point quicker. Anyway, I'm whacking away at it. And now we're going to show you inside the plant a little deeper. There's a lot of tiny little leaves you can see on these other branches. And as those start to grow, that's what's going to make your plant bushier. Now what you want to do is you want to clip right above a pair of those small leaves. And I'm going to show you a better view of what that branch looks like. See, there's little leaves coming off of the larger leaves. And those are the ones you want to keep, the small ones. And here's the finished product. Now I'm going to take this first branch and I'm going to start taking off the larger leaves and even the last row of smaller leaves. And now I have a cleaned up stalk and decided that I'm going to leave a little longer, and so I cut it down a little farther. I'm going to take off some of those extra leaves. They're not necessary, and it'll just help the clipping to root when it's not having to work to keep those bigger leaves alive. And here's our first one. I put it in the center, and I usually leave that one slightly longer than the rest. And in a second here, we're going to just go a little faster and get the gist of it. Take off all the old leaves. And even the small ones. I'm going to give it a fresh clip. And just poke a hole in there and just stick it in the hole. It's just as easy as that. Now here's another branch. It's a big one. Taking off all the old leaves. Giving it a fresh clip. And like I said, I usually do the ones around the border of the pot. Smaller. I think it just as aesthetically pleasing. Push them down in there real well. So it get in contact with the soil. Okay, and there you have it. There's, I think there's about 9 to 10 clippings there in that pot. And the more clippings you put in there, the bushier it's going to get without even having to clip it back. But you're going to want to clip it back anyway because it still helps with the growth of the plant. But yeah, that easy. Now I'm going to show you how I propagate through seeding. I had harvested some blossoms from the plants behind the blue pot, you can see right there. And I let them dry out for about maybe a week or two until they were good and dry. And there you see it right there. And I just crushed the blossoms. I took out the whatever stems were there, and I crushed the blossoms. And I couldn't even tell you how many seeds were actually in that bowl. But as you can see, I am going to just disperse the seeds across that soil in the pot, and wherever they land, I don't know. And like I said, I don't even know how many I had in there. And we'll find out here in a second that there was a lot of seeds in there, and more than I could really use. And next time I do this, I will try to pull out the seeds and just grow what kind of I need to grow, because I kind of wasted a lot. But this is after 4 days, and you can see there's probably about 80 little plants in there. And this was another project that I didn't actually show you, but you can see the seeds were coming up. I got more on the blue, out of the blue container than I did out of the red one. And here they are. They're growing. They're getting pretty big. They're getting really crowded, so I'm going to have to go in and take some of those out. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how I take the seedlings out and replant them in different pots. So there I am. I pulled gently. I pulled some of the larger seedlings out, and you can barely see the rootings, but they're rooted, and they're not too bad. They're young. And I just picked a small pot, and I poke a hole and just gently add the seedling. And this whole little pot right here, I put maybe 5 or 6 seedlings in there. And I'm going to just keep that together as it grows, and I'm going to make that, I'm going to keep repotting it as needed, and make that just one planter. So see, it's got several plants in it, but I'm going to keep them together so it fills out faster. Start pinching back some of the seedlings. They're just too crowded, and I'm only going to need maybe 15 to 20 of them. Okay, so now we're going to propagate in water. I like using canning jars or anything in glass because you can see through it and you can see if they're starting to root. So, okay, I'm going to, again, to take the bottom leaves off the plant. You don't need all those extra leaves on there. It's just something that takes away from the energy of the plant. And right now it's not really doing a whole lot of photosynthesis, if you will. And we really want to get those roots going. So pinch off those old, the larger leaves. And anything that's going to be going into the jar, you want to take off the other vegetation down below, so even the small ones, and leave a good long stem. And you want to make sure that the top leaves are not underwater. So good long stem, just put it in there. You see those leaves are looking kind of wilted. So we're just going to pull most of those off and put the rest of the stem in the water. Here I'm judging to see how long to make the stem so it'll stand up. The leaves will stand up out of the water. Okay, it took about 7 days, maybe a little longer, to start to see roots forming. I've had plants that have taken a lot longer than that. Make sure you keep your water clean. Maybe change it out every 2 or 3 days. And then when you start seeing roots, you can go ahead and plant them into soil in your pot. Thanks for watching.